Good afternoon, honourable members, officials from the Provincial Treasury, as well as all officials from the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board in attendance. I have seen the chairperson and the CEO of the Gambling and Racing Board in the meeting, so a special word of welcome to you as well. Members, just for record purposes, before we get started on the presentations, can we just do a brief round of introductions, starting with the members of the committee. I'm Peter Johnson. I am the chairperson of this committee, and in no sort of a sequence, any other member, please go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Good afternoon, Chairperson. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, colleagues and the officials from the department. My name is Noko Masipa. I'm a member of this portfolio committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Khalil Baranka is here, also a member of the committee. Thank you.
Noma French Mbombo, member of the committee. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair. Dirk Wessels here, also a member of the committee, and glad to see you've got a full house behind you there. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Chairperson and members, and also the colleagues. My name is Noel Constable. I am also a member of this committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benedicta van Minnen. I'm an alternate member of the committee, just sitting in for interest's sake.
Thank you, members. I do note an apology from the MEC. She won't be present during our meeting today, so I will then move over to the Gambling and Racing Board, starting with the chairperson, Mr. Basuday.
Good afternoon, Honourable Chairperson. I'm Claude Basuday, Chairperson of the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Asogan Chetty, a board member for the Gambling Racing Board.
Good afternoon. Mervyn Burton, board member for Gambling Board. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Ayandam Vandava, board member.
Good afternoon. Lizanne Venter, board member.
Good afternoon. Nick Nichols, board member.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome to you as well. Just in terms of apologies received, I have tabled the MEC Minister Deirdre Baartman's apology, as well as an apology received from the HOD, Ms. Cantana. Other than that, we have a quorum and we can officially start the meeting. Members, just a friendly reminder that you please save or record your resolutions, recommendations, and/or request for more information, if you have any, which we can minute at the end of our meeting. Without further ado, we move over to the first presentation by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. I have been informed that Mr. Matthews will flag the presentation and Mr. Bennett will present to the committee today. So over to the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. May I proceed?
Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. This presentation is on the corporate social investment that casino license holders have made in terms of the bid commitments, which is then included in the license conditions. Okay. In terms of the gambling offerings that is made by license holders, these are all legislated in terms of the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Act. In terms of the Act, the board is mandated to control all gambling racing activities and any matters incidental thereto. The board is also empowered to impose, amend, suspend or revoke licenses in terms of based on the activity of license holders. One of the things that the board also has to ensure when issuing a license is to ensure that the gambling that has been offered and the activities related thereto is done in a social responsible manner. And the board looks at that as well when they not only through the CSI product, the CSI offerings of the license holders, but also in terms of when they consider applications for a license. That is, we look at what areas they offered, the gambling has been offered, as well as the proximity of certain places. The request for proposal, which applicants had to consider when submitting an application, determined the criteria relating to the CSI, and as indicated previously, is where a license holder had indicated that they will be committed to certain CSI funding that would be included in their license conditions once they became successful. In addition to the CSI initiative, which was the bid commitments, the successful applicant in the Metropole had to also pay an amount of 135 million, which was a contribution to the establishment of the CTICC, and also funding to the Chrysalis Academy for the Development of Youth. All other successful applicants included contribution to specific community projects. In terms of the bid for the RFA, the board did not prescribe what the CSI would be because it was a competitive bid. It was left up to the applicants to indicate what CSI projects they would be funded over the years. Sure. The casino indicated in the CSI initiatives what projects they would fund. This ranged from either having PDI or HDI shareholders or preferential shareholders, as well as contributions to community trusts with specific trust deed conditions. And those would generally benefit the various communities in which the casino or the surrounding area in which the casino would operate. Proposed CSI initiative for all successful applicants were included in the license conditions. The casino financial contributions to CSI over the years, as indicated in the table there. In the first 5 years, that is when not all 5 casinos were operational at that stage. The contribution was 9.3 million. From 2006 to 2010, that is when all 5 casinos became operational. Golden Valley, which is situated in Worcester, that was the last casino to become operational. The contribution was 71 million. From 2011 to 2015, it was 68 million. From 2016 to 2020, which included a portion of the COVID period, being March 2020, the contribution was 88 million. And then from 2021 to 2023, the contribution was 27 million. Bearing in mind, Chair, is that for almost the better part of 2020, as well as 2021.
Apologies, Mr. Bennett. We do not see the figures that you're referring to, and I'm assuming that is what Mr. Abrams wanted to raise as well. Mr. Abrams, is that what you wanted to raise?
That is correct, sir. We mean to be on slide 6 now. I think he's already on slide 9. So he needs to go back to slide 6 to just to collaborate the actual his presentation with the slides. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abrams. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to ask as well. I think we are missing each other somewhere.
Oh, sorry, Chair.
No worries.
Okay, Chair. In addition to the CSI contributions, each license holder is required to contribute 0.1% of their gross gaming revenue to the South African Responsible Gambling Foundation. Now, this organization provides free education for the gambling.
Sorry, Mr. Bennett, I don't know if it's just on my side, but we're still just on slide 6. Is there anyone else that can see something different?
No, I'm with you, G.
Okay, so then it is a technical issue on your side. So just try to see if there's a problem with screen.
Chair, we're still on slide 6.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Bennett, slide 6.
Slide 6.
The CSI license conditions is set by WCGRB.
You're on the right one, Mr. Bennett.
That is the one that but the Chair indicated that they cannot see this one.
We can see this one, but we couldn't see the figures that you were referring to. I don't know if there's a different slide.
No. We are on this one. I think the figures that we're going to refer to will be after this one.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Please continue.
Okay. So in addition to the CSI contributions, which the license holder have indicated in their applications, which became license conditions, each live casino operator must contribute 0.1% of the gross gaming revenue to the South African Responsible Gambling Foundation. This organization provides free education and training to the gambling industry stakeholders. They also provide assistance for people who require treatment for problem gambling. It is free treatment that they provide. They provide education and awareness and a number of outreach programs throughout South Africa at various parts at various times during the year. They have recently also embarked on campaigns to include senior schools. Over the years, they've also adapted a curriculum which was worked into the schools program called Taking the Risk Wisely, which was a type of awareness for school children, which was attached to a math lesson. For the 12 months ended 31st March 2023, the casinos contributed an amount of 2.6 million to the SARGF in terms of this requirement of the 0.1% of gross gaming revenue. The board also imposed additional financial CSI contributions for any casino license holder that may at any point in time request an increase in the number of gambling facilities they have at the casino. Let's say if they wanted slot machines or or gambling tables. The most significant of this happened in 2006, when Grand West was required, when Grand West requested to increase their slot machines from 1,750 machines to 2,500. There was a substantial amount that they've paid in addition to the required CSI. The CSI conditions, license conditions for casinos are, it varies from a number of community-based projects. They would maintain access routes to community religious sites. They would have PDI or HDI preference shielding with guaranteed preference shielding, for which the dividends would be for the community in which they operate. The preference shielding with guaranteed dividends by community trust for the benefit of the community projects, which would include bursaries as well, funding for community projects, and funding for educational needs and social development needs within the communities. In terms of the actual monetary commitments of these casino license holders, it would include either 2% of after-tax profits. Another would have 2% of after-tax profits plus an additional 50,000 payable to the relevant tourism authority within that community. Dividends payable to two empowerment shareholding partners, each holding 10% preference shares. One would have 5% of pre-tax profits paid over to the trust, and another one would have 1% of turnover paid over to the trust. It must be stated that in addition to the above, casinos also make financial donations to needy causes on the request and after a review and analysis of the request. What some of the license holders do have, they have what they will call an emergency fund, which we've seen they utilized quite to the benefit of the community over the years. So if there was and had been a number of weather disasters, flooding, or those type of things, where all of a sudden there is a specific community which is without housing, without clothing, food, or whatever the case may be, they would then have this emergency fund available, and they would make it available to the relevant community to provide them with that assistance. The actual contributions, Chair, this is the figures we were talking about previously. Over the past 20 or so years, the total contributions has been 265 million by the 5 casinos. We can see that in 2021 and 2023, there's been a significant drop, but that was as a result of COVID, where the casinos were at times not operating at all, and at other times they were operating with a number of restrictions, number of machines that could be on, as well as the operating hours. The types of projects funded by these casinos is we had early childhood developments, projects like the maintenance, repairs to the infrastructure, and there's also funding of new and innovative teaching aids, meals, transport facilities, and security. For primary and secondary schools, there would be refurbishing of technical classrooms, computer and home economic labs, funding of security fencing and halls, funding of transport facilities, educational facilities for enhanced learning, funding for children's needy uniforms, backpacks and school books, and the funding of tutoring projects and computer facilities. In terms of tertiary education, they would provide bursaries for needy students, as well as providing tutoring for classes to assist students with their studies. In terms of social services, there was funding to the National Sea Rescue Institute, funding of day clinics, contributions to disaster recovery, as indicated earlier, the funding of safe houses and services for abused mothers and abandoned babies, funding of facilities for the rehabilitation or care of severely disabled persons, funding of animal rescue services and shelters, community infrastructure projects such as roads, sports facilities, and needed services, funding of municipal tourism initiatives, and funding of feeding schemes. The board practices oversight over the implementation of the CSI initiatives. there are regular audits conducted on the license conditions, and as this is one of the license conditions, we would ensure that the relevant the required amount set in terms of the license condition is paid to the CSI projects. The board will also review and assess on a quarterly basis the reports on these projects which have been funded by the license holders. The committees of the board would actually at the quarterly meetings visit specific projects and see exactly the effectiveness of the funding and how it has impacted on these projects. Yeah, Chair, a lot of these projects relates to there's a lot of funding that they give to education. It could be early childhood development. There is primary education, tertiary education, as well as senior education. And in many instances, there's been a lot of positive reports coming back from principals, specifically in the metropole, where they've indicated that the matric results were largely as a result of the funding that they've received from the casinos that assisted the grade 12 learners with certain facilities which they would not have had had it not been for the funding. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett, for the informative presentation. I would now afford any members to indicate by just raising your hand if you have any questions to the Gambling and Racing Board relevant to the presentation that was just shared. Please raise your hand and I will take 3 questions at a time. I see Member Constable as the first. See Member Masipa. Member Constable, you can start us off. Thank you. Over to you.
Chairperson, thank you very much, and thanks for the presentation. Chair, with regards to the projects that the board fund, is it possible for us to get a list of those projects and also the specific area in which the project is, which they funded? I just want to check something. Everybody's talking only about metro. If this is a provincial government and this board is funded by the province through grants, I believe this province is way bigger than only the metro. So I would love to see the list and also the specific areas where the projects is implemented. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Constable. Member Masipa, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to the presenters from the Gambling Board. Chair, I think mine is really to complement the work that the Gambling Board is doing through their SCI. I did come across some of the work in my past life, and I can vouch that they are doing great work. But I do agree with Honourable Constable that as you know, members of Parliament, our job is oversight, and there's a saying by our former leader, Susman, that say, "Go see for yourself." It is definitely important that you know, sometimes we get to see some of this project. If they can share with us, I think that will be good. It will just help us with our oversight work and make it even much easier so that we can take 20 minutes in the presentation and be done with the day's work. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for your positive comments, Member Masipa. Mr. Bennett, are you able to respond to any of the questions or comments posed by the members?
Yes, Chair. In terms of the projects that the casino funds, it is not only the Metropole. There are 5 casinos, and they are located in the 5 different regions. We got Caledon in the Overberg region. We got Garden Route Casino in the Southern Cape, Golden Valley Casino in Breda Valley, and West Coast Casino, Mykonos Casino in the West Coast. So those casinos, all of them would fund projects in their specific area. So it does cover the entire the Western Cape. But in terms of the details of the projects that were funded and the area, that is, I do believe that is something that the board can make available.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Constable, do you have a follow-up? Please, you are welcome to do so now.
Thank you, Chair. Let me just clarify, Mr. Bennett. It doesn't, those 4 or 5 regions doesn't cover the whole of the province. There's one region that is out, and that is the Central Karoo. So, Mr. Bennett, if you can please let me know what are you funding in the Central Karoo, I would be happy.
Thanks, Chair. We will look at that records. But as indicated, it is not the board specifically that does the funding. It is the license holders, and many times is their funding could also be limited in terms of the trust deed. If the trust deed indicates that they have to fund in a specific area, and I'm just talking generally now, I'm not saying they're not funding anything. They would then fund in that particular area, and they would be required to fund certain specific projects as such. But that information in terms of, as requested, we with the Office of the Board can provide that.
Thank you for that, Mr. Bennett. Members, any further questions or comments? I do not see any indication. Gone. Thank you so much for the presentation, Mr. Bennett, and to the entire Gambling and Racing Board. Thank you for joining us today. And I would just like to afford, there we go, the chairperson, Mr. Basuday. Please go ahead if you would like to address the committee, or with the welcome to do so.
Yes, thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Just to thank the committee and yourself for the invitation to present on this matter. We really appreciate it, and we're very happy to follow through in respect to the questions asked. Thanks once again.
Mr. Basuday, the officials from the Gambling and Racing Board, as well as the Provincial Treasury, are welcome to leave the meeting now while the committee just deals with a few administrative issues. Thank you very much to the officials in attendance. You may leave the meeting now. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, members. I just want to confirm with Ms. Adams that it's just members and some officials from the WCPP that's still left in the meeting.
Yes, Chair, just officials, WCPP officials and members.
Thank you so much, Ms. Adams. Members, during our last finance meeting that we had, there was a request to have the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board present on their social responsibility or investment, and that is why we had them here today. As you've noted, it was a short and sweet presentation from the board, but when we get to the resolutions and actions now, if there were any specific topics that you want more information or resolutions and actions on, we can add that to the resolutions and actions. I have made a side note that Ms. Adams will minute the resolutions and actions. And I just want to check, Ms. Adams, the comment made by Member Constable in terms of the Central Karoo. Member Constable, would you like to propose to the committee that we add a request for more information on what you have raised in terms of the Central Karoo area?
Chairperson, yes, thank you. I think what I really want to see is the list of the projects with relation to the casinos that fund those specific projects. And also, Chair, what is the process, if needs be, for the Central Karoo, any place in the Central Karoo to go about to open also a casino that can fund social projects in the Central Karoo? Or how do we utilize this board, because we give them the grants? How do we utilize them to make sure that students and projects within the Central Karoo are also funded? I think that is, in a nutshell, what I would love to see. It can either be in writing or it can be part of our next meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Constable. Members, before I move over to Member Masipa, I just want to confirm with the rest of the committee, if there is anyone against the proposal from Member Constable, please indicate so now. I do not see any. I agree to. Masipa's following resolution. Please go ahead, Member.
No, I actually raised my hand in terms of really the solution proposed by Honorable Constable. Can I go ahead? I'm responding to that, and maybe, it might be a no. I will suggest that we don't, some parts of the resolution.
Please go ahead, Member.
Yeah, so my concern is that, gambling is a very challenging game, and to actually even request or consider gambling in parts of the Karoo, we might just be setting up something that it might just not be beneficial to communities, as we know the challenges that the communities are faced in those parts of the world. However, I do not see a problem in getting indications from the gambling board as to which projects are they supporting in the Karoo, and even urging them to really consider adopting some of the projects in those parts of the world. But to suggest that we really get a gambling activity going on in the Karoo with such an economy, I think we might be setting up something for failing the community up there. That's just my thought around it. I know it's an economic driver, but I think it has got its own repercussions or challenges as such. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Member Masipa. Just in terms of our role as a committee, setting up any sort of casino has got nothing to do with us. I'm assuming Member Constable was more interested in getting more information on exactly which programs within the Central Karoo is funded, but I do see Member Constable's hand. Member Constable, please go ahead.
Chairperson, I really don't want to go into a debate with Member Masipa, but this is actually what really happened in provincial government. They see the Central Karoo not part of the Western Cape. The reason that Member Masipa brings that it will harm the communities or it will not be beneficial, Central Karoo is a struggling community. Such investments will also assist the municipality with revenue enhancement. We, as a community in the Central Karoo, we don't have a large community base to assist the municipality with revenue enhancement. Hence, we currently, Beaufort West Municipality is currently under an FRP specifically for the reason that they don't have enough revenue that they can create. Such an investment will assist the whole of the Central Karoo. And this is not only for the people of Central Karoo. Not only the people of Caledon goes to the casino, not only the people of the West Coast go to the casino. The Central Karoo is in the midst of this country. And as long as we see the Central Karoo outside the Western Cape and we bring a debate such as this to the table, I'm very, very, very disappointed in this. But I think, Chairperson, we can take this debate to a next level and allow the people of the Central Karoo also to speak into this matter. Thank you, Chair. But yes, I would love to see the list. I would love to see the way that we can move to the Central Karoo and also to see what is the projects that this board is funded. I want to re-emphasize this board is funded, it's getting a grant from the province. They must utilize this grant to serve the whole of the Western Cape. This is the only point that I want to make. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Member Constable. I think if we can rephrase the resolution, a proposal might be that we request for more information in terms of investments within the Central Karoo area where they fund specific projects, and further to that, perhaps to not make it area specific, just to pose the question of asking how do they decide which areas to consider to open a casino, or a sort of let's call it that. But I do see Member Wessels. Member Wessels, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So I heard the other two members as well, and I was trying to think how we can maybe get to some other resolution. So I was wondering, can we not state or phrase the resolution that we ask the tribunal or the committee for a proposed development plan, how they foresee the industry growing within the Western Cape to try and curb the losses or the downward spiral of revenue via online gambling. That would basically allow us or allow them the opportunity to explain to us how they foresee the gambling industry developing in certain areas, and it would also allow us to see the potential impact on the revenue that we as a provincial government raise, which is getting lower. We'll also be able to see that, how they will counter that. So that is just a suggestion on maybe how we can phrase that resolution.
Thank you for your inputs, Member Wessels. I think that might be, I think we are sort of connecting to what I was trying to say just before you addressed us now. So in terms of resolutions, to summarize, I just want to check. I see Member Masipa posted in the chat, provide details whether Central Karoo has ever been considered for casino licenses, and if not, why not? Member Masipa for resolutions, as well as the proposal from Member Wessels in terms of a action plan going forward for a business plan strategy. And then thirdly, the yes, Member Wessels.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm just my ideas in phrasing it in a manner that we understand how they foresee the industry developing in the Western Cape is not to put emphasis on a certain region per se, but that we can in our questions at that stage to them delve down into certain particular regions. I think they would have a clear view of how they see their industry developing, and it's up for us then to interrogate that. So that's why my suggestion or my resolution that I would that I would like to see is that we request the gambling board to provide us on how they foresee the gambling industry developing throughout the Western Cape in a manner and how they tend to curb the downward spiral of the taxes generated through the current system. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Member Wessels. I just want to check, Ms. Adams, that you note that as a resolution.
Yes, Chair, I have the resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. And then lastly was just that Mr. Constable asked about the corporate social investment initiatives, if there are any specifically relating to the Central Karoo area. Members, any other resolutions or actions? The part of Member Constable, what I'm referring to Central Karoo is not specific. It's not about the opening of a casino. It's about if there are any corporate social investment being made within the Central Karoo specifically. But Member Wessels, please go ahead.
Yeah, with Member Constable's permission, I would just like to add something on his resolution, if possible, and that is on whether the corporate social responsibility contribution holds is there any correlation between the income generated within the casino of that region towards the projects of that region, or if it goes to a central pot, if I can put it as such, and then if it's then distributed from there. And the reason why I ask, I just want to ensure that the various projects does not specifically relate also to the income generated within a specific region. So thanks, Chair.
Thank you for that, Member Wessels. Any other members that would like to propose any resolutions or requests for further information, please indicate so now. I do not see any. Thank you, members. We move on to the adoption of the draft committee minutes of the meeting held on the 13th of August 2024. I just want to check, Ms. Adams, is there any way that you can flight it on the screen, or? There we go. Thank you so much. That was the presentations also from the Gambling and Racing Board, as well as the Provincial Treasury. I just want to see if we scroll down a little bit more. Just want to check whether yeah, there we go. Members, the minutes were sent out to everyone. Can I please have a proposer and someone to second? Member Masipa to propose, Member Constable to second. Thank you very much, members. Members, this was before we close. I just would like to afford any members the opportunity for final closing comments or questions. You are welcome to do so now. Please just indicate by raising your hand. I do not see any at this stage. Members, I'm assuming that you are still a little bit tired after the long budget meeting we had yesterday. But thank you very much for attending today's meeting and have a great weekend. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Spring.